track. And I'm excited because I'm putting all the pressure on this next speaker. He is a HashiCorp ambassador, and we have several ambassadors here who can also just stare him down and put the pressure on him. We've got James, HashiCorp Ambassador James, HashiCorp Ambassador Barnaby, HashiCorp Ambassador Jeremy, Mehdi and Francois. They're on their way this way. They're also HashiCorp ambassadors, and we're all just gonna stare just like this at you while you have your talk, right? So without further ado, I'd like to introduce HashiCorp Ambassador Wale Salami, who's gonna be speaking on making learning accessible and cost-effective, and it better be cost-effective with HashiCorp Nomad. Take it away.
Thank you. No pressure. Is it okay? Let's see. Can you guys hear me fine? Much better. All right. Okay. Better? Okay. Welcome everyone. So, my name is Wale. I currently work for a company called Global Logic, and we're based in the UK. So today I'm going to talk to you about how we make learning available through HashiCorp Nomad, basically. But first, before we get to that, I need to tell you why we do that. And that would be because of this. It's called DevOps Playground. It's something that we do once a month through via Meetup, which happens either in person and via live stream as well. So what this is actually where a presenter like myself or any of you, if you have anything that you like to share with your peers or with the community. So this is actually community-based, even though it's sponsored by my company called Global Logic, but they have the hands-off approach, so it's literally run just by us. By us meaning myself, Wale, Barnaby, and James, and some others that are not here today. So what this means is that you, for example, have a topic that you would like to run. You would like to teach others. So in this case, let's assume you're presenter A and you would like to talk about Terraform testing. It's funny because Terraform testing was the previous talk. Bear in mind, I don't know much about Terraform testing. I'm just talking about how to make the lab available for you for that. So, yeah. So the presenter would come to us, say, oh, I would like to be the next presenter for next month's playground, and I will need an infrastructure for that. So then my next question will be to them, what do you need? Like, what do you need to make sure that your lab will be successful? So in this case, for Terraform testing, what they would need from me, for example, would be Terraform and AWS access. That's all they need. So how I would go about that, I'll show you via the demo now. So just give me a second. Give me a second. Maybe I'll stop. And start mirroring. Oh, perfect. All right. So, I will just show you straight to. Here we go. So the first thing I'll show you now is how I would provision the lab for them. So right now, what we used to do is we used to use EC2 instances. So each user that comes for the playground will get their own lab, but the lab is an instance. So it can get costly because for what they're trying to present, you don't need a whole instance. But that was the first thing we could all come up with, and then using user data as well to install everything that's needed. But now the new way of doing things is they can go into Waypoint, and there are two templates in Waypoint. The first template that you can see in here is the Nomad jobs, and then the second one is Nomad client. So this one will create a Nomad client for you and give you the node that you select as well. And then with the Nomad jobs, you can then deploy the jobs into the clients. So first of all, let me show you. So this is our Nomad cluster. We have a few node pools. And in this case, as a presenter, if what they would need first is somewhere where they can actually test out their labs and make sure it's all working fine. So for now, I will just have to go in the applications. I want to create a new application. I'll say I want to create a client. Bear in mind, Waypoint, I think this is a unique use case, I guess, but because we're using this to actually provision an instance, whereas Nomad Waypoint, it's ideally for creating applications as well. So yeah, I would say HashiConf, Terra test. So that's the application name I'll give it. We only need one for testing, and the presenter only needs medium for now. Bear in mind, everything that you're seeing here is all predetermined by the module, which I'll go through in a minute as well. And then here's how the node pool we have. So actually, there's another node pool that's not showing up here. That one is called core, because that client hosts only applications that are needed for Nomad, for the whole thing to work. So which I will also go through in a minute. But for this part, I'm gonna show you the test, and then we'll create the application. So what this start does is, it creates a new workspace for you. And the workspace what this workspace is doing is creating a Nomad client, which then will show up in here. So right now, we already have two clients running on two different node pools, the DPG core, which I mentioned earlier on, and then the demo. And then the next one that's coming up next is the test, just to take a minute. While that's running, you can also you can also create the jobs for this. So for this, we'll just create application again, go to Nomad jobs. So this part, you need to fill in a bit more. So you could just say HashiConf again. Oh, sorry, HashiConf. And then Terra test. And then jobs. So if any of you is familiar with Nomad, you need to you need to tell it what driver you're using. For this one, we're using Docker. And then the image name. As part of this, we host our own images in GitHub, so this is what gets created for the presenter. So they can then go in here, and the image source is from GitHub, which is our username, DevOps Playground. And then the node pool that we want the jobs to be deployed into is the node pool we just created, which is the Playground test. And workstation count is, I guess, for now we have like 20 people, so I could put 20 people down. But on Meetup, we usually know roughly how many people are coming. But for this one, I would just put in 3, as it's just for the presenter to do testing. So we create the application. Again, this also creates a new workspace for you. And then as you can see, the previous application that was created for the client has been created here for the Playground test. And you can also view more stuff. Hold on. Here we go. So it tells you it's done successfully, and outputs are here as well. So all the information about the instance that was just spun up. Right. So how did we get here? The first thing we had to do was, how did we get this whole setup so that it's all automated and without using any code? In order for Waypoint to actually work like this, you need to have your no-code module set up. So we have a no-code module which, hold on, here we go. So here are the two no-code modules, Terraform AWS Nomad Client and Terraform AWS Nomad Jobs. I think the best view would be in here actually, sorry, in the registry. So it's in here. When you create the module, you just take the box for no-code module and then it is ready for you to use in Waypoint basically. The next thing we set up with this to work as well is having the Nomad cluster set up first. So in order to get to the Nomad cluster, we had to set up the Nomad cluster. So we used HCP Packer to create golden image for the client and server, which also I can show you in HCP. Just give me a second. So here we go. As you can see here, we have Nomad. And then you can see the different versions. So currently we're on version 3. And you can see here we have Amazon client and server. So this then means if, for example, we needed more servers for the Nomad for the Nomad server itself, we just have to go into the Terraform and deploy more servers using the AMI that was created here. So let's talk about the Packer. Another thing we had to do was workspaces that are doing everything that we need in terms of like access, and because we also give saving secrets into Vault, so we also use Vault for this. In order to get all of this to work, we have in our main repository, which is Nomad Infra. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff in here. So what this does, for example, is this one creates the workspace, and it tells us, it passes in the stuff it needs as well. But then we also have a project here, which we're using to pass in like the Vault creds. And then, yeah, so because some of the resources require, when we're spinning up an instance, for example, where the Nomad client was just being spun up, it required some secrets such as the Vault, such as the Nomad token, certs. Everything is in Vault. So in order for that to work, the authentication is already done via the workspace. So yeah, that way there's no manual intervention needed, and yeah, I can show you here. As you can see, all we declare in here is, for example, just the provider vault. Oh, also, just by looking at this, we're also using Boundary. What we're using Boundary for is storing the SSH keys in there. And ideally, we don't want to have to SSH onto any of the servers, but in case you do need to, you can now use Boundary transparent sessions to just log into the servers as well. So, yeah. That's how everything has been working so far. And then, so back to the labs itself. So they, as you can see here, the jobs I've created. This one says deploying, those two here, because we ran out of space. But that's to be expected, because each job is taking a lot of resource. So like here, for example, as you can see, we're using 2000 MB for memory. So for it to deploy more, it needs a bit more hardware resources available. So that's why that's normal. But for the presenter now to be doing the testing, they can then just go onto our page, which is on the labs. And then from here, any of you can just go onto this page and enter your name, and that will give you a workstation. So, for example, I can just put in my name in here, submit. So it tells you you've claimed your workstation successfully claimed. My username is Wale. Password is password123. Password is not really needed at this point, but it's just in there. And then it gets you. Now this is where your lab is. So once you click on that, So film demo, for example. You now have your terminal as well with everything that you asked for installed. So for example, this now comes with Terraform version. So now you have Terraform installed, and on top of that, in terms of your README to follow along for your labs. So if you wanted to follow along through this, you could just go onto the README here, and by just following this, you can learn about Terraform test, for example. So that's how easy it is to set up learning environment for anybody. And this can be shut down like in an hour or in 2 hours, depending on how you set it up. So we manually destroy our labs for now, only because sometimes people will require more time, so we don't actually restrict them for now. So yeah, that's how the lab works. I mean, that's how you would see, you'll be able to interact with the labs. Oh, and terminal as well, which I've shown you as well already. And because with TerraTest, you also need, I mean, this one is linked with AWS, so you need AWS credits, which is also being passed. But for the demo purpose here, I have not given it actual AWS credits. So as you can see here, but everything, I've deployed all of this without actually touching any code, basically. So that's how we actually set up everything for making learning accessible by Nomad. Oh, I think I missed the point as well, sorry. We make the, so we use traffic as a load balancer. So all the jobs that just get deployed show up in here, as you can see. So, and by the way we do that is by using the tags, so job definition. So this is how you enable traffic, by just giving it a traffic true, and then you give it the domain DNS name that you want to give it. So in this case, suite test. So this is based off the node pool that you select, basically. And then we also have like 100 adjectives that it picks up, not randomly, but in order. So on a day where we do prod deployment, it's normally pandas. So we call it panda. So it will be sweet panda, funny panda, or whatever you want to name it. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Does anyone have any questions?
No, it's Ed. In your Nomad jobs, in your Nomad jobs, when you select the node pool, does it check for what's active in the dropdown? So if you started the Nomad client, but it wasn't fully provisioned yet, it would still show up?
It will show up, but yes, it will show up. I think it will, sorry. I think it will show up, but it will be failing because it won't be able to, it won't be able to, like, what do you call this?
Retry?
No, it won't be able to give it some, I can't remember what it calls it.
But so, does it do retry on its own, or?
Yeah, it does,
okay,
it does,
okay.
yeah. So I've tried it earlier on where I deployed the jobs while the client was still deploying. So it was just there in pending state. And then once the client was ready, it just, because with Nomad jobs, it keeps retrying.
Oh, right, because it'll submit it to the server while the client, yeah, that's right, okay.
Any other questions? While I sing, do you guys want to hear him sing?
No, you don't want to. No.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Wale, for this talk. And we shall return in 11 minutes for another inspiring talk. So come back soon.